Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for this watch this video. Well, this time I'd like to reveal about the structure of the research article and PhD or master or even a bachelor degree thesis. So let's have a look in the next slide. Well, one thing that we need to put into our research article or even a bachelor thesis or even master or PhD thesis, basically they are all the same. First of all, we need to set up our aims and objectives. Well, first of all, in this chapter or in this topics, we need to explain about what exactly your thesis or your research is about, and this is what you would like to say. And so you need to have a global picture on what you need to do and why you need to do that. So let's have a look about the aims. So we need to mention all about our research aims. So we need to set up what sort of aims that we need to achieve throughout our research. So and the next thing that we need to reveal is that the scope. So we need to summary of what exactly our research about. So let's move on to the next. So actually in the section of the acknowledgement section, well, basically this is usually come across into the not only PhD or master or even bachelor thesis. This is usually come first when it goes to the next section of introduction section. However, when it goes with the research article, when we need to submit it to the certain journal, that we need to put into the acknowledgement in the end of the article as well. And let's see about how we manage about the acknowledgement section. First of all, in the acknowledgement section, we need to recognize those who contributed to our research. So how your supervisors and others can contribute to your research. Who are they and how the contribution is given. And we do need to do to have thanks to those who provided help during the data collection. This is including the participants, and it is suggested to doing so particularly in the research article as well. But as I mentioned before, that usually the acknowledgements come just in the end at the end of the articles. And then in the acknowledgement section, we need to provide anyone who provides pastoral support, such as friends and family, and this is usually come in the start of the thesis report. And if there are any funding bodies that support our research, we need to acknowledge them in the article particularly, and also in the thesis when it is available. And this everyone or professionals that involved in our research, including the typists and transcribers, or even the proofreaders, possibly given this acknowledgement to the article as well, and also in the acknowledge them in the usually in the beginning of the section of the thesis report. And then let's say about the abstracts. Usually when we come across with even the research proposal, the research proposals, we need to still mention the abstract in the beginning. So after mentioning about the title, we need to provide our abstract in the start, in the beginning of the article, or even in the proposal. Is a proposal as well. So what sort of thing that we put into the abstract? Well, first of all, we need to describe what happened during the research, what exactly the plan that we need to set up in the first action that should be put into that in the abstract. So first of all, what is the reason for writing the thesis? What exactly the background? What exactly what everything that we need to put it on that? Why we need, so the reason why we need to do the research should be mentioned there. So basically there are something problems. There are something problem that still exists in the current experience, for example. And also what are the current approaches and gaps in the literature. We need to provide this in a very briefly explanation. And also what are your research questions and aims. So basically we need to put in that what is exactly the question and aims as well, but still in a very brief statement. So mention those in a subsequent order, and also which methodology that we plan to use if that is kind of a research proposal. However, if this is kind of a research report, we need to provide the methodology that have we used in our research and why we choose this methodology, what is kind of the strength, or even we can anticipate for the weaknesses if possible. So next to what are the main findings, we need to provide these what actually the main findings of the research when we report our research at the end of our research. However, if we use this as a research proposal, we don't have to put these main findings because we haven't done yet our research. So this kind of research proposal, usually in the research proposal, it will goes into the aims, objective, first of all the background, and then the research gaps in the literature, and then the aims, questions, or the aims, and also the methodology. And does it for the research proposal. However, if we have a report, if we do need to report our research that we have done, so we do need to put into our abstract for the what kind of the main findings. So we need to put in the key findings of our research, and also in the interpretation, but still in a very brief explanation. So we still keep in mind, usually in the article only need for around 250 words should be put in our abstract as well. So we do need to choose which the main things that we need to put in the abstract. So because it's only limited around 250 to 300, it's basically depend on some certain journals or even some certain report, for example, based on thesis report, specifically differently used in different universities. So we need to keep into our mind what's the rules, what the standards that we need to put into it, that we need to write down in our abstract as well. So the last thing that we need to do, put it in the abstract, is what are the main conclusion and implication. So that's the main things. So we need to put on that what kind of main conclusion and that implication if possible. So what some next section is the introduction. So what sort of thing that we need to put into this section? Well, in the introduction, basically we do need to explain about what's the anticipated original contribution and why the examiner care about our research. So we need to put into words exactly the primary reason, or even yes, the basic problem that we need to put some solution, and that we need to offer some solution on it. So, and then in this introduction we need to reveal about the thesis problem statement. So something that we need to do is what sort of problem that still exists nowadays that we need to put or offer a solution, for example, and what do you hope to achieve, and even what do you not hope to achieve, and also what are the research questions and hypothesis. So in the introduction, at the end of introduction, usually there will be the last section, there will be research questions. Research question is something that we need to try to answer on it. Well, in this kind of research question, we need to put some question or even one question. So this is basically depends on your topic, on your research topic, and also on the hypothesis. And the hypothesis is like an anticipated answer to the questions. And also you need to put in your epistemological and ontological position. This is kind of the theoretical base of framework. And also, what is your contribution to the field? This is something that possibly you will you'd like to give to contribute to the field of your topics, for example. And how is the thesis laid out? For example, what sort of this is kind of the reports in the thesis report. Usually, we need to put what is the thesis laid out, how we structure the thesis. For example, this is something that we need to put in the introduction in the last thing. Usually in the master thesis report, or even bachelor degree or even PhD degree. So let's move on to the literature review. So the literature review is kind of what is the case for the research. So we need to mention about all the whole range, everything with links with our research topics that we need to put into that. What sort of theoretical framework there that supporting our research. So we need to mention about who is the most play as the most important authors, and what sort of their findings, and how about their concepts, and what schools, and is there any debates within that, or even how they mention about hypothesis. So we do not mention in the literature review what gaps still exist in the literature that we need to prove into, or even we do need to strengthen some previous research that still need further work, for example. So we need to prove something that possibly have been set up in the theoretical dimension. However, there is still not much evidence on how to prove the theoretical framework, so that we need to do our research, something like that. And are there gaps methodological or conceptual or epistemological? And also, how does your thesis fill these gaps, and how our thesis, our research will fill into to answer or to fill the gaps in the knowledge as well. That should be revealed in the literature review.